You're listening to the BBC World Service. Now witness history with me, Laura Jones. We're going back to 1982, when nests of dinosaur eggs were identified for the first time in India. Paleontologist Professor Ashok Sahni made the discovery.
So this is actually the rock in Jabalpur where the first dinosaur eggshells were recorded. Straight away I didn't recognize them for what they were, but then suddenly I was able to see that there were a number of rounded structures in a block of stone. It occurred to me that these have to be dinosaur eggs. The joy of discovery is just for that moment. So you don't forget that easily, and you like to share it.
Born in Calcutta, India in 1941, Ashok Sahni moved around a lot. From Mumbai, known then as Bombay, to Lahore during partition, to Lucknow before returning to Calcutta, now known as Kolkata. But one thing was consistent, and that was being surrounded by a family of fossil enthusiasts. His grandfather, uncle and father were all working in paleontology.
Every summer we'd go to the hills. On the way to our destination, he would show me a lot of rocks, and if they had fossils, he would point out. There was a lively discussion. So from very early on, fossils were part of my life.
Ashok went off to the United States to study at the University of Minnesota, being inspired by discoveries in the US and southern France, like this one in 1974.
In the south of France, archaeologists have discovered not actual dinosaurs, but 7 dinosaurs' eggs. They're about 7 inches long and 9 inches round and unbroken, which is rare. Well, whatever's inside them, though, can't be hatched. They've been dead for 70 million years. But scientists...
That was the BBC's Newsround programme. Ashok got his first sight of dinosaur eggs in a US fossil hotspot.
When I was doing my PhD in Montana, that was the first time that I recovered dinosaur eggs. I didn't know what they were, but it was only later on that I realized that I had a variety of eggs, and I published them in my thesis, which is actually a bulletin of the American Museum of Natural History. So they are there.
When he returned to his home country, working at Punjab University in Chandigarh, he was keen to make his own discoveries. Ashok started making regular trips to a historic fossil site in central India at an old British military station, or cantonment.
One of the oldest cantonments made by the East India Company in the city of Jabalpur. It's low-lying hills. There's a railroad that connects Calcutta with Bombay, and it runs through the area where you have the dinosaurs. This was the place where Henry Sleeman in 1828 had found dinosaur bones next to where he lived. So obviously it was a good place to look at.
Ashok visited Jabalpur many times on the hunt for significant bones, but with always something else in his imagination.
We were not, in those days, looking for eggs. We were looking for bones. We were looking for dinosaur skeleton pieces. At the back of the mind, of course, was that eggs. But since eggs had not been really found, we didn't know exactly what to look for in India. I had taken 15, 20 students. This is 1982. They were looking somewhere else and I was looking somewhere else. Suddenly I felt some good may happen. That's one of the feelings that all paleontologists have when they go to the field, that it's going to be their lucky day. Most times it's not their lucky day, but on this occasion I was coming down from a hill slope, and right in front of me I found in fact a block of rock which had distinct spherical structures, but they didn't look like eggs at all. They were sort of mangled up, but they were so close to each other, they looked like a nest. I persisted going up and down in that area. Lo and behold, shortly I was able to find very good samples. So you can have actually rounded spherical shells, eggs, but many times you only get the shells. on that day, we were able to find nests, we were able to find shells, and my students got so excited. They stayed there till very late in the evening. So there was general excitement, you know. When you actually see in front of you something that you've been looking for, that's one of the reasons why you've taken that field, the joy of discovery. This must have been my 15th or 16th visit. You keep on looking. It's just a question of, the day that you're lucky. I must have passed that area God knows how many times. But it's something special happens, that you make a discovery. So that's how it happened with me. And after that, of course, I was able to locate them in a number of other places. But the joy of the first one is always there.
These eggs were analysed and found to be from titanosaurs, massive plant-eating dinosaurs with long necks and tails from the end of the Cretaceous period, when a lot was going on.
It gives you new insight as to how large reptiles reproduced. Plus, there's an additional geological significance. This was not a time of quiet. You have volcanoes erupting, lava flows flowing down, and in this rather chaotic environment, you have not only the dinosaurs, you have a whole ecosystem living. You have snakes, lizards, crocodiles, mammals. My great interest, what were the mammals like when the dinosaurs were around? When you look at eggshells, they tell you that a thriving population, because you have eggs now are found over a large area of peninsular India. This was the time when all over the world, the dinosaurs and about 70% of all life became extinct. So this is a very special time on Earth when this happened. It's just fortunate that we have these fossils at this particular point of time.
When you first saw those eggs in Montana, did you ever think that you would find some in India?
No, it never occurred to me. In fact, that's been icing on the cake. I've really had a most remarkable journey because I had a lot of students. They were very enthusiastic. Most of the discoveries were made by them.
As you can hear, Ashok still loves fossils.
It's in the blood. There's no way I can get it out of it. It still fires me up. Just anybody, it doesn't have to be my own. Even if a student finds it, or the student of a student, I get excited. Because I know that it foretells good news, that the field is active. There were a lot of fossils lying around the home that my father would bring, and I'm afraid I've carried on that tradition. So my home, much to the annoyance of everyone else, has a lot of fossils. They occupy a lot of space, but I try to hide them from everybody else.
Throughout his career, Ashok went on to make many discoveries, including helping to identify the ferocious Rajasaurus narmadensis, India's answer to the T-Rex. Professor Ashok Sahni is now 82 and retired in Lucknow. He was speaking to me, Laura Jones, for that edition of Witness History.